crossing my mind now is thank you for coming. I think this got put together in less than 2 weeks. Listening to this crowd was pretty amazing. So thanks for coming.
Is that any better? Is this on? Excuse me. I went to visit my family in South Carolina. I went with a couple of germ magnets called grandkids. Anyhow, a couple of things changed. One thing's going to change this year for sure is DATCP now has a DEA permit or license. So acquiring seeds and clones, I'm not sure about clones, but seeds will certainly change a little bit. Right?
There's more to say about that.
There's more to say about that. Maybe she should go first. I can speak real clearly about last year. It was kind of challenging. I did a little clandestine operation, drove a few thousand miles to the west, picked up some goodies, came back, and covered darkness, got them off the ground. Worked out pretty decent, really. I think that's going to change this year. She'll speak more about that. Did the same thing with the seed. It was hard last year to actually get what you needed when you needed it, to get it here, and be not arrested. The DEA said they weren't going to prosecute. I don't know if anybody got arrested. Do you know? Nobody got arrested. Wisconsin DATCP has been amazing in this whole process. But last year was really hard to get it all done in a timely manner. We succeeded with 400 plants and 120 pounds of grain seed. Did anybody go to our field day at Turtle Creek and see that? Okay. So we had some success. But the acquiring of the seeds and clones last year was quite a challenge. One of the things I found out, and I expect it to happen again this year, is there's some questionable integrity in what you get. We've grown stuff for about, I've been at Turtle Creek Garden for 5 years, and we grow a lot of vegetables. And we got a greenhouse where we put hundreds of thousands of plants through there. And visiting some locations, the names of the plants represent, we'll back up. When you try to put together lean plants in short order with warm bodies that maybe know how to do it without doing or not doing, the integrity of a greenhouse can go south in a heartbeat just because of natural conditions. There's some junk out there, and I'd say it's still a buyer beware environment when it comes to clean or dirty plants. We're going to be importing stuff from different parts of this country, and we're not growing them all here. Some of the russet lights, some of the stuff that's just dirty on the plants, it's going to come into the state because people are bringing it in by the hundreds of thousands. So we need to be aware of those kind of things. There were plants that were infected with mites that there were never any mites on that field before, but all of a sudden the plants got mites on them. Right? Where'd they come from? They came in the back of somebody's bus to the state. So acquiring seeds and clones, it's not a real simple deal. It's not like going to Walmart and buying a beach ball. You can't just go get what you want and it's going to all be okay. You really need to pay attention to what you're doing and build relationships with people. Right? I made it a point to go visit these folks and have a beer with them or two, or three, maybe. Right? And hang out with them, find out these people for real. You know, there's a lot of people on the internet that say they can or can't do certain things. And the demand is way up here. If you're not first in line or have cash, it can be hard. It's been my experience anyway. We decided to grow clones specifically. Didn't want to grow seeds, didn't want to do growing males. And it worked out well. We had two genetics, one was fine, loved being here, the other one didn't want to grow here at all. On the trip back to South Carolina, they had grown they had a special sale on cherry bomb buds. And I said, why? He said, well, they grew like crap around here. They were full of mold and just wouldn't grow. I said, well, we grew cherry bomb in Wisconsin, we saw there too. So some genetics just don't want to grow. Question?
When you say grow clones, are you growing clones to harvest the flower, or are you growing clones to sell the clones?
The question was, are you growing clones for flower or growing clones to sell clones? We just bought the clones to grow CBD flower. So no mothers or nothing like that went through our stuff. We didn't have the time to ramp up. By the time we decided to do it, it was like, I think once the license came out, we're sitting around in the winter going, what are we gonna do next year? We can make some money because vegetables are going down the circle the drain a little bit on finances. So we just got to scramble and got busy. Couldn't do it for operation. Is there any vegetable growers in here? Couple of us, right? It's fun, right? If you're a vegetable grower, you're set up to know how to take care of CBD plants. It's the same kind of rigors, same kind of responsibilities, little different kind of a plant. That is the Eurasian hemp borer entry point, and that's a piece of lead. The Eurasian hemp borer in this area, if anybody remembers a guy named Randy that was here last year, he's digressing a little bit. This is the pictures going on, everybody's watching the pictures. The Eurasian hemp borer just about destroyed one of our crops because the feral hemp all around us, they lived in it for the last 70 years. They smelled that nice terpene profile in the air and they zeroed right in. Anyhow.
How do you get rid of it?
How do you get rid of the hemp borers? You're not going to get rid of them. You can do an IPM, integrated pest management, production pheromone traps, find out when the males are doing their thing, check the degree days, figure out here's the optimum time when the worms are going to be crawling with the plant, and catch as many as you can. You can spray, I forget what you can spray, but you can do a foliar type spray to try to mitigate when you're going to enter into the side of your plants. They made a patch. They eat the terminal buds. When the buds are growing pretty, they eat that. I think I've spoken enough for right now. If you guys want to add to it, here's my cover crop of hemp after the growth decided to knock about half of it off on the ground. And that's me giving obeisance to Lady Hemp. She's telling you she don't give up her bounty without a tussle. Anybody else want to speak?
Okay, can you hear me in the back okay? Okay. One of the things I would say about seeds and clones, and I think I really appreciate that Steve said you really have to be a buyer beware. And he mentioned that we have our DEA permit now, so we can help you import seed. You should also know that the 2018 Farm Bill is really close to getting passed, and Mitch McConnell, who has kind of spearheaded hemp growing in the United States, has put himself on the committee because they've changed the definition of hemp in the Farm Bill. That would take it away from being a Schedule I substance, so it would take it completely out of the DEA arena. And if that passes with that definition, we would not need our DEA permit. And then there would be more freedom of movement across state lines for seed, clones, hemp, all kinds of, and everything related. And I would just echo what Steve said about being really careful what you're buying and asking for the test results of what you're buying. You should be able to get those. They should be able to tell you that, you know, this variety tests below 0.3%, and they should be able to give you that lab reported, and you want that. And you want it to not be like at 0.3%, you want it to be much lower because there is some variability when you're growing it, and you can end up over that 0.3% threshold and end up having to destroy your crop. So just really, really want to encourage you to be aware of that and do a good job of looking for seeds and clones so that you know what you're getting.
We had a friend of a friend in Colorado who was a grower of high CBD. Again, reiterating what Steve said, you know, trying to know who you're getting your plants or stock from. You know, it's a little bit unnerving to think that you'll send a check for a large sum of money through the mail and then hope that you'll get the seed or plants that they said you were going to. So if you can know somebody in the industry that they do have reports on their plants. So obviously if you're growing for food and fiber, you would be looking for a seed that would have those qualities, low THC or no THC. In the case of CBD, of growing for that, we were looking for a high CBD strain with a manageable THC level. you know, the trick with the CBD growing was that you could go over the 0.3 federal limit. And so the longer that the plants stay in the ground, you risk that. And so we chose some clones that had about a 12 to 15% CBD, keeping under a 0.3 level of THC. And the day that the provider out in Colorado was going to actually deliver, load up a U-Haul and bring them out, he was sort of warned by various attorneys to be careful, and he aborted the mission. And so in the last hour, we had laid out our field. These last photos were from our experience, but we had laid it out for 1,500 clones in 1 acre. That's giving it a 5-foot diameter per plant. And our rows are about 8 feet wide, so we can manage them through mowing. And in the last minute, we were instructed that we would be getting seeds. The seeds came to us, and we planted roughly 2,600 seeds in that 1 acre area. I think you have to decide, you know, one, what you want to grow. Do you want to grow it for food and fiber, or do you want to grow for high CBD? So that will determine what varieties you seek on the market. And then the other, you know, step is to determine, you know, what acreage and what type of workload you want to go through. For us, granted, we also did get 300 clones. So to have the comparison of the less work involved with having clones versus having these seeds that have male and female, that have hermaphrodites, that could risk pollinating, that could risk getting seeds, which would lower your CBD percentage. All of these things now became part of our palette through the season. So for 2.5 months, we had to cull the males within our field so we wouldn't get pollination and therefore seeds. In many ways, planting seeds was very easy. They propagated within 7 days, and they caught up to the 3 to 4 inch clones that we had. So it was very comparable in their growth rates. And due to the timing of day and light, and they all started flowering, you know, at the same time when it meets that 12-hour period. So for us, it was knowing somebody in the market, and actually we were able to do a cost share. So we didn't have to put any money on the table, and it's purely an exchange in the end for the product at the end, and that's how we're paying our provider. So, you know, many people say it's kind of the Wild West. It kind of is. There's a lot of ways to go about it. It depends how thick your pocketbook is, or who you know, or who you can trust, and then the challenge right now with the gray areas is getting those plants to you so you can grow. Question?
Based on your planting and seeds and clones for next year, do you plan to do anything differently? Are you gonna use more seeds, ditch the clones, or still do both, or?
We've decided that we're gonna, depends, she had asked, how, from our experience, are we gonna do seeds again, or do clones, or do both? We've decided that we'd like to stick to clones, because we don't wanna risk pollination, we don't wanna risk seeding, but that was because, you know, we planted those seeds that were not feminized. Some say you can get feminized seeds where you wouldn't get males, but that's not always the case either. But these weren't feminized seeds, and we ended up culling roughly over almost 1,000 of the 2,600 plants, so of males. So there was a lot of culling that took place. And I think if we would grow seeds in the future, we'd probably grow them indoor. and then be able to sex them and then put them outdoor, with all your females. With seeded varieties, you can have lots of phenotypes, so the growing stages might be different, the THC levels might be different, there might be variations in the CBD levels, so to make sure that if you get a seed, to get seeds that are stable seeds and have less variations of different phenotypes that you're being challenged with throughout the season. Yeah.
About how much do seeds and clones cost?
They can be roughly 75 cents to $2, I've heard, or they can be more for seeds. Plants can be up to $4 a plant or more, $2 to $8 to $10. Does anybody else?
Our experience with that from, I don't know about the clone standpoint because we didn't grow any clones, but if you're looking at growing grain hemp, that's a completely different animal, and that's anywhere from $3.50 to $4 a pound, depending on who you buy it from. But our experience with the seed, talking to different people, you can buy hemp, industrial hemp that has a high CBD content, anywhere from about $6,000 to as high as $12,000 a pound. There's 24,000 seeds in a pound, and you're going to plant. We're looking about the same as Angie, somewhere in that 2,600 to 2,800 seeds per acre. With the high CBD, especially the seed, you want to give it plenty of room to grow, and you've got to assume that 50% of the seed that you plant are going to be males, and you're going to have to pull. And I'll agree with Angie. We spent a good 6 weeks pulling male plants, and no matter how good you are at it, there are some that there's going to be some pollination that happens with the male. Now, in our case, we're not finding a lot of seed, but we are finding some seed mixed in with the flower. So there will be some. You know, when we were harvesting, we were pretty careful, and we went every day or every other day out and pulled male plants. And lo and behold, when we were out there harvesting, I found a male plant that was kind of intertwined between a couple, and you know, those plants right around it for sure had some seed in it, and so no matter how careful you are, you're going to have some pollination that's going to happen when you use seed. It's just going to happen. I can tell you one horror story that I talked with. There was a couple that had decided they wanted to grow 25 acres worth of seed. They went to Colorado and purchased it. By my estimation, to grow that 25 acres, they had somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000 invested in seed alone. They came back and they planted it, and shortly after they planted it, the husband was diagnosed with cancer. And so they weren't able to go out and pull the male plants as they thought they were going to be able to because of his situation. So they had $100,000 worth of seed that all of a sudden became, rather than being worth $35 or $40 a pound for hemp flour, was worth $1 or $2 a pound for hemp seed. So you have to keep that in mind, that it's a high labor crop, no matter how you grow it, whether you grow it from a clone standpoint or a seed standpoint.
Barry, how many pounds on the Canopy plant, the high CBD plant? How many pounds per acre did you say?
We looked at it from a seeding rate, not from a pounds. We planted about 2,600 seeds per acre.
It's about a bag this big.
Yeah. When, we were less than a quarter of a pound for the quarter of an acre that we had out here. And when we got it in, and I opened it up and I looked at it, and I said to Jim Studi, our research director, have you ever seen so little for so much? So, from a seed standpoint. So the seed that we got fit in the palm of my hand. I can guarantee you that, to just plant a quarter of an acre out here. So, and we paid $3,000 for that seed. So, just so you know. Yeah.
I wanted to say that I've been giving a lot of information because I'm part of the hemp roundtable, and I'm also the second vice president of the U.S. Hemp Farmers Alliance, and I'm also helping to further the standards with the U.S. Hemp Authority for growing and processing. So I have a lot of information that's coming to me from all around the country regarding, and I have my own agronomy agriculture consultant out of Colorado myself, personally. And I want to say a little bit about seeds, clones, and what seems to be going forward for the future. And I also want to say that it hasn't been determined yet, like really what way are people going to be propagating and doing I'm talking about CBD hemp right now, not the seed grain varietal. It seems to me, based on a meeting that I had yesterday, that clones are going, I'm not saying that they're gone, but they're going to become probably less and less a thing of the future and less availability. Possibly it'll stay strong within a very artisanal boutique market, but for scaling, one of the largest clone operators in Colorado has decided to not further that even anymore, because it's very hard to scale cloning for large growing. I mean, it's just impossible, and there's a lot of large growing going on. And so it might be harder and harder to get clones, is what I'm trying to say. And growing your own clones isn't easy. Like the type of environment you might have for other types of vegetables and so forth to start things out is different than when you're growing clones. Like bacteria and all kinds of things really affect clone production. And we've had our own share, I know Steve has too, of having, not the greatest clones last year, and they were from a reputable company. So even from a reputable company, or we thought was a reputable company, they did over 200,000, I think they did over 750,000 clones last year. We all that used that company had mixed results. It seems to be that the thing that's going forward is feminized seed. And feminized seed is still in development, and some of that feminized seed and there are lawsuits right now where people have plants with feminized seed, and their feminized seed wasn't feminized enough, and they had major problems. So finding out what kind of feminized seed and who it's from, it's going from about $1 to $1.50 per seed. I think it's more about $1 a seed right now. They're also talking about open propagation for really super large agricultural farms, which is male and females together, and you're not roguing. You're not taking or culling them at all, and you're doing mixed plant, and you're getting half the production, but it's thousands of acres. They're doing it this way. And I do want to say that I do hear out in the international, national world that big industrial hemp growing